investment in its agricultural sector. Federal government suspends new internet digital platform regulations. Senate threatens diplomatic action against South Africa. Others fresh probe over xenophobic attacks on Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Zelensky seeks more NATO defense system after intense Russian strike.
And on business news tonight, Togo, others, owe Nigeria $12.66 million for electricity. I bring you details of this story and others when I return on the business segment of the news. I am Olayemi Takro. Stay with us.
And still on OGTV comprehensive news package, Ronaldo to assess Portugal future after World Cup exit as Roberto Martinez steps down as manager. Join on sports segment of the news for the details, updates and latest from the FIFA 2026 World Cup. I am Shiyalo Tongowe.
Where there is no struggle, there is no strength. Not to forget that you can watch us live on Facebook at Ogun TV and Ogun State Television, on YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website at www.ogtv.com.ng/live. For the latest news and reports, check us on this platform. X at Ogun TV, Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple Store and Google Play Store. And now to the details of the news. Ogun State government has secured another $100 million investment in its agricultural sector as Presco PLC, an oil palm business, is set to commence operation in the state. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the company, Adewale Arikawe, made this known during an interview with journalists after a meeting with Governor Dapo Abiodun in his office at Okemoso, Abeokuta. Arikawe, who said that the company runs oil palm plantation across the entire value chain from the plantation to the mill, and the final product, added that the company is happy to be investing in the state, saying they appreciate what the governor is doing to make the state an investment destination of choice.
$100 million, over $150 to $200 million investment I want to bring in the oil plantation in Ogun State. And we believe this will actually create jobs. This will also improve the revenue for the state. At the same time, like I said, we are also going to be part of the Ishaya that the government is running in Ogun State.
On his part, the Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Bolo Wotomo, disclosed that the company, which is a 2 trillion naira market capitalization company, recently raised a lot of funds from the capital market, which is said will be put to use in the state.
Provide massive employment opportunities for our teeming youth in Ogun State, and it's also in tandem with the aspiration of His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun, CON, to ensure that private-public partnership thrives in Ogun State.
Moving on, Ogun State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, has affirmed that the educational sector repositioning mission of Prince Dapo Abiodun administration will continue till the very last day in office. Professor Arigbabu gave the affirmation after a facility tour visit to Government Technical and Vocational College, Ishabo, and monitoring of basic education certificate examination to some schools in Abeokuta South local government area of the state, emphasizing government's commitment to the revitalization of schools and making them retain their pride of place when it came to academic excellence. The commissioner noted that his visit to the technical college was to monitor the installation of the gadgets that were acquired by the state government, such as embellishments, monogramming and sewing equipment, noting that he was impressed with the qualities of the machine that were procured. He also said the monitoring of BECE gave esteemed the opportunity to see some schools that needed interventions in certain areas, promising to carry out notable rehabilitation and classroom building projects before learners resume for the next academic session.
Even the laboratories in some of the schools, like Adokta Girls Grammar School, and of course the technical college. We went to the technical college at Shabo, and then we saw the ongoing installation of the equipment that had been acquired by the state government as part of the repositioning of the Tibet sector. And I'm actually very proud and very impressed about what we saw. We saw the embellishment equipment, we saw the one for monogram, we saw there were other equipment that are meant for sewing, industrial type, and so on and so forth.
Professor Arigbabu therefore expressed his satisfaction over the proactiveness of school principals, the decorum maintained by the learners, and the timely and adequate supply of examination materials. The principal of Anglican Girls Grammar School Junior Unikolobo, Mrs. Francisca Adebajo, and a counterpart in Nawaruddin High School, Ukejeun, Mr. Wasiu Lawa, appreciated the commissioner for the doggedness in ensuring that the teaching and learning environments were made conducive and for promoting the legacy of the founding fathers of education in the states. Schools visited were St. John Anglican High School, Kuto, Anglican Girls Grammar School, Unikolobo, Nawaruddin High School, Ukejeun, and Government Technical and Vocational College, Ishabo. Still on education, for decades, the junior and senior secondary school divide has been a familiar landmark in the Nigerian education system. Now, the federal government is moving to dismantle the barrier. Testimony Komolafe reports on a board proposal to replace the current JSS SSS structure with a seamless 12 years continuous basic education program designed to curb the nation's alarming school dropout crisis. Our reports.
Every school day begins with the promise of a better future. Yet, for millions of Nigerian children, that promise is cut short. Government data now paints a stark picture out of 24 million children enrolled in primary school. Only 4 million make it to the end of senior secondary education. This is a staggering 20 million dropouts who disappear from the system before completing their basic education.
According to the information, the government reports that we have 20 million school dropout students. So that is huge. So they have to look at solution to that. So I think one of the solution the Minister of Education is looking out is actually the seamless transition to secondary school so that we can have retention for the dropout students.
We ask ourselves why. Is it because of the two segments we have in secondary school? Is that the purpose? Is that the reason? People that started 634, they knew there would be dropout. The best thing is that whatever policy we are going to implement, we must do that evaluation. After 5 years, we need to ask ourselves, have we been able to achieve the objective?
Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, describes the current JSS to SSS separation policy as a failed system that creates unnecessary administrative bottlenecks and physical barriers to progression. By merging these divisions into a single 12-year uninterrupted basic education model, the government aims to eliminate the transition hurdles that often lead students to abandon their studies at the junior secondary level. Beyond simply fixing the structure, stakeholders argue that this reform is an opportunity to modernize what happens in the classroom. The focus is shifting towards a more integrated curriculum, one that prioritizes foundational literacy and earlier exposure to vocational skills. The goal is to ensure that every graduate leaves the system not just with a certificate, but with marketable skills ready for the 21st century economy.
Vocational studies should be part of every student from the junior secondary, not at NYSC stage.
Let us make sure that our students too are working like the Chinese, Indonesia and everything,
students. If a JSS3 student in China can produce an asset, what happened to our own student here?
But the reform is not without its critics. Experts warn that structural changes alone are not a magic bullet. Without concurrent investment in school infrastructure, teacher welfare, and the deployment of digital learning tools like the Nigerian Learning Passports, the systemic issues of overcrowding and low teacher quality may persist. As the proposal heads to the National Council on Education for approval, the nation watches closely. The measure of success will not just be the abolition of a policy, but the creation of a system that truly keeps Nigerian children in the classroom and prepares them for life beyond it. Testimony Komlafe, OGTV News.
A colposcope machine has been unveiled for the use at the Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, Shagam, by the wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun. The medical device used to closely examine the cervix, vagina, and vulva for abnormalities that may not be visible during a routine pelvic examination was donated by Maria Iyabo Shuriola. It was commissioned during the yearly free medical outreach organized by the pet project of Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, the Ajoshe Foundation, in collaboration with US-based medical specialists from Care Beyond Brothers Incorporation. Margaret Okunola has the details.
Health, they say, is wealth. This was demonstrated during the annual medical mission carried out by the Ajoshe Foundation in collaboration with Care Beyond Borders at Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, Shagam, where various medical conditions were attended to free of charge. This year's edition saw the commissioning of a colposcope by the wife of the Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, as part of renewed efforts to fight cancer.
Health is wealth. You see people walking around and looking okay, but the minute that they're diagnosed with something, their whole life changes. It's important for you to pay attention to your body. It's important for you to check when there's anything that you think is abnormal.
In attendance were members of the Spouses of Ogun State Government Functionaries Association, healthcare workers, and the wife of the senator representing Ogun West Senatorial District, Mrs. Temitope Adeola.
This foundation has gone a long way to helping the citizen of Ogun State, and through her a lot of things has also been achieved. So I think this is a good thing that she's doing, and I encourage others to support as well.
The medical mission featured free surgeries for various conditions to provide succor to patients who had been scheduled for procedures but could not afford the bills.
There's a way they can go in and do like quick screen. It's very cheap. And if they saw something abnormal, they can bring them in and do the colposcope. What that does is it's able to magnify, they can take some biopsies and be able to send it to the lab. So with that, if they detect those cancerous cells earlier, they can treat. It's treatable. The First Lady is all about prevention, prevention, prevention. It's much cheaper to prevent than to be treating when you have diagnosis that's already severe. And we don't want that. That's why she is so daring and cares about this. It expands every year. So each year we had different doctors. So this year is the first year we have an orthopedic surgeon.
On behalf of the beneficiaries, Bola Faboale described the intervention as timely, saying it has greatly supported the well-being of residents across Ogun State.
We appreciate the kind gesture of Her Excellency in person of Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, and of course the Excellency, that's the State Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, CON. This is a very noble exercise.
The Chief Medical Director, Dr. Gumi Fatugashi, presented an award of humanitarian service to Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun. The colposcope machine provides a magnified, illuminated view of the tissues of the cervix, vagina, and vulva, allowing healthcare providers to detect precancerous changes, cervical cancer, genital warts, inflammation, or other lesions. Margaret Okunola, OGTV News.
And still to come on the news, Kano Judiciary says Sharia Court judge suspends others over misconduct. More news and reports after this break.
Excuse me, ma'am. This is your 100% in my year.
Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair? Since your landlord just increased rents, I saved for this one separately on money points.
No, you say you save on money points?
Yes.
This madam money points here, the array of your there, his charges savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is fees savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact, son.
Jennifer, money points save as you transact. Money points fixed savings and money point target savings.
What's up? Why did I tell you contribute to you? Where should they? Come on, oh, you go give your money to Adaku to save. You see money points accounts there. You know, go open a savings account. Now Adaku you shoot. I beg everybody inside this my salon. Oh, yeah, bring out your phone and download the money points app now. Even you. What are you waiting for? Download the money points app now. Adaku, wow, money points account.
Money point made for your progress.
Glad to know you're still there watching. If you're just joining us, this is the comprehensive news package for the day on OGTV. As the Ogun State House of Assembly commenced the second reading of a bill titled Ogun State Safe Termination of Pregnancy Law 2026, the Speaker, Right Honorable Oludaisi Elemide, has assured that the proposed legislation would undergo a rigorous process to ensure that its provision did not conflict with existing laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and other extant legislation. Speaker gave the assurance shortly after the members conducted a debate during the second reading of the bill on the floor of the State House Assembly, Ukemoso, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kolawole Osho was there, and details of his report are presented in this package.
Leading the debate on the bill, the sponsor and chairman House Committee on Health, Honorable Wahab Haruna, described the proposed legislation as a critical intervention aimed at addressing the persistent challenge of maternal mortality and morbidity in the state. He explained that the bill sought to establish a clear legal and medical position under which termination of pregnancy might be carried out by qualified medical practitioners in approved health facilities, including where the life of any pregnant woman is at risk.
Mr. Speaker, the objective of this bill are there to reduce maternal mortality and mortality.
Aligning with the sponsor's position, Honorable Basunde Tella noted that the bill was aimed at promoting safe medical interventions in high-risk pregnancies, where termination is medically recommended. Contributing to the debate, Honorable Lukman Adeleye stressed the need to adopt globally accepted practices in reproductive health care, saying that the proposed legislation will provide legal and institutional frameworks for a safe pregnancy termination in legally recognized circumstances. He added that it would protect victims of rape from trauma and contribute to reducing maternal mortality. On his part, Honorable Oluwaseun Adesanya and Honorable Yusuf Sharif, alongside other lawmakers, supported the fact that the bill would boost access to the required information and medical intervention necessary to protect the women. They noted that the bill, which was meant to reduce maternal morbidity and mortality, promotes safe motherhood and reproductive health rights, and to establish the conditions for the safe termination of pregnancy in accordance with legal indications and for connected purposes, was necessary to reduce maternal mortality. Speaker Elemide in his submission reiterated that the House Committee on Health and other relevant stakeholders will subject the proposed legislation to a thorough scrutiny to ensure that it aligns with the Constitution and other applicable laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, while addressing the policy objective of the bill without creating redundancy or legal conflict.
But where we are working on it, we should look at collision with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have to look at it critically during the stakeholders. Since there is no presenting voice, I'm not making my voice behind in support of what we have said. But I'm just saying that we should look at the law critically so that we will not produce an half-baked law.
The bill was subsequently committed to the House Committee on Health for further legislative action.
The federal government has directed the suspension of the implementation of new regulations affecting internet platforms, online intermediaries, and other cross-cutting digital economy issues pending the development of an harmonized national policy framework. The directive was issued by the Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, following a strategic meeting with the leadership of the Nigerian Communications Commission, National Information Technology Development Agency, and the Nigerian Data Protection Commission. In a statement issued, Tijani said the agencies would defer the implementation or enforcement of recently issued regulations, guidelines, codes, and directives relating to internet platforms and other issues currently undergoing inter-agency policy harmonization. It added that the agency should defer the enforcement of any recently issued regulation, code, guidelines, framework, directive, or administrative requirements relating to internet platform, online intermediaries, or other cross-cutting digital economic matters, while such provisions are not part of ongoing harmonization process. The minister, however, clarified that the directive does not affect the statutory responsibilities of the respective agencies. Tijani said the rapid evolution of Nigerian digital economy had created areas where the responsibilities of sector regulators increasingly overlap. The Senate has warned that Nigeria could review its diplomatic relations with South Africa if renewed xenophobic attacks against Nigerians continue, as lawmakers condemned the reported targeting of Nigerian citizens and businesses. The resolution followed a motion sponsored by Senator Azukwo Ekpeyong, who drew the attention of the Red Chamber to the June 30, 2026 ultimatum allegedly issued to Nigerians residing in South Africa, describing it as a grave threat to their safety and livelihood. The development comes amid renewed concerns over reoccurring xenophobic attacks in South Africa, which have over the years claimed the lives of several Nigerians, destroyed businesses, and repeatedly strained diplomatic relations between both countries. During plenary, Senator called on the federal government to secure firm guarantees from the South African authorities for the protection of Nigerians, while urging decisive diplomatic engagements to prevent a recurrence. The Senate also directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Nigerian in Diaspora Commission, and the Nigerian High Commission to compile a comprehensive record of Nigerians who suffered death, injury, displacement, unlawful detention, or loss of property, with a view to pursuing legal redress and compensation. Lawmakers further urged the federal government to work with other affected African countries and the African Union to establish an early warning and accountability mechanism to prevent future xenophobic attacks across the continent. The appointment of the 21st head of service in Ogun State, Olanrewaju Saka, has been described as a testament to years of dedicated service, exemplary leadership, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to service. The State Commissioner in the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Down Planner Olatunji Odunlami, said this when he led the management team of the ministry and a sister agency on a felicitation visit to the office of the head of service at Okemoson, Abeokuta. Odunlami said he is confident that the head of service wealth of experience, administrative acumen, and passion for excellence will further strengthen the service and inspire greater productivity across ministries, departments, and agencies of government. He also took advantage of the visit to brief the head of service on some of the notable achievements recorded by his ministry since the restructuring of the former Ministry of Urban and Physical Planning and the defunct Urban and Regional Development Board in 2020. The head of service, Olanrewaju Saka, in his response described the commissioner as a highly professional, disciplined, meticulous, seasoned administrator and urged workers to keep tapping from his wealth of experience. He commended the ministry for keeping the flag of expertise and due process flying, as the state has not remained the same since the assumption of office.
Changes that will be commensurate with the transformation agenda of Mr. Commissioner. It will be disheartening to hear at Treasury Board that the last year of 8 years administration, the IGR is dwindling, which has never happened in the last 7 years. But let us surpass it in double. I know you can do it.
In another development, the head of service called on teachers in the states to equip themselves with modern-day technical know-how, master their subjects, and be good role models to their students. He made the call when the Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, Ogun State Chapter, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, Schools, and Colleges branch in Ogun State. A growing debate has emerged over whether Nigerians registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) should be permitted to vote without possessing their permanent voter's card. While proponents argue that the policy is necessary to reduce voters' apathy, critics warn that abandoning the PVC requirement could compromise the integrity of the electoral process. Taiwo Fabajo reports on the varying perspectives surrounding the electoral proposal. His reports.
Since 2011, the permanent voter card has served as the primary document for electoral accreditation in Nigeria. However, with significant numbers of registered voters yet to collect their cards, a new conversation has begun regarding access to the ballot box. Those advocating for a policy change argue that any citizen whose name appears on the official INEC database should be entitled to vote. They maintain that rigid reliance on the physical card disenfranchises legitimate voters and contributes to the declining participation observed in recent cycles.
The process of actually getting this permanent voter's card is very tedious. I've been there like 2 to 3 times. I've not been unable to get it. So if your name is there, I think it's legit.
On the other side of the debate, many Nigerians, including political analysts, assert that the PVC remains a vital security mechanism. They argue that removing this requirement will increase the vulnerability of the electoral process to impersonation and fraud.
They should not be allowed because not allowing them to vote is also a way of stopping like electoral malpractices, ballot buying, and so on and so forth.
I think it doesn't cost much to ensure that everyone get their PVC. Now, how long does it take for us to get our ATM card? I can apply for my ATM card now and get it within 24 hours.
Right now, there's a lot of distrust. You find out that the distrust is so high that if you allow anything that people feel that is manipulative in nature, it would make the elections not credible. So I advocate that we have to exercise a lot of caution.
Instead of waiving the card requirement, this group calls on INEC to streamline the collection and the distribution of cards to ensure that all registered voters process them before election day. Questions have also been raised regarding the extension of voter registration period, with some stakeholders asking for clarification on why such extensions are frequently necessary.
Why stop the registration? It should continue so that people will have the opportunity, and they should bring it closer to the people. To be in the marketplace everywhere, trying to get Nigerians to register to vote. A lot of people are disenfranchised because the cost of transport is so high.
I wish the government can leave 2 or 3 days as a public holiday for people to go and get registered.
INEC has repeatedly stated that the PVC and the bimodal voter registration system, BVAS, are designed to function in tandem to ensure the integrity of the one-man, one-vote principle. As the nation looks toward the next electoral cycle, the central question remains: is the current integrated technological and physical verification process sufficient, or are further adjustments required to balance voter access with electoral security? Taiwo Fabajo, OGTV News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise by 2 weeks in Ogun State to enable more eligible residents to register ahead of future election. According to a press statement issued by the Ogun State Resident Electoral Commission, Mrs. Jimmy Shashei, the exercise, which was initially scheduled to end on 10th of July 2026, will continue until Sunday 26th July 2026, including weekends. The Commission said the extension followed a review of the nationwide registration exercise and feedback received from state offices, political parties, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders. INEC also announced the introduction of a self-service online voters registration platform for first-time voters. The platform is expected to become operational from Wednesday, 8 July 2026 through the Commission's dedicated CVR portal. The statement explained that the self-service option would allow eligible first-time voters to begin and complete their voters registration process, including biometric capture, using their personal devices without visiting an INEC office. According to the Commission, the system is equipped with identity verification, biometric validation, and other integrity checks to ensure the credibility and accuracy of the National Register of Voters. INEC urged all eligible residents of Ogun State who are yet to register to take advantage of the extension and the new technology-driven registration option, reaffirming its commitment to making voter registration more accessible, inclusive, and efficient. The Kano State Judicial Service Commission has directed a Sharia Court judge and the Acting Director of Information and Statistics, Sharia Court of Appeal, to proceed on compulsory retirement with immediate effect. This was contained in a statement issued by Babajibo Ibrahim, the spokesperson for the Kano State Judiciary. The two affected officers were found guilty of bribery and corruption by the Judiciary Public Compliance Committee. According to the statements, the Commission directed Presiding Judge, Sharia Court, Babeji Aliyu Muhammad, to proceed on compulsory retirement after the JPCC established allegations of bribery and corruption against him. The Commission also directed the judge to refund the sum of 250,000 naira received as gratification. The Commission further approved the suspension without pay for 4 months of court clerks, Sharia Court, Babeji Ibrahim, after they admitted receiving part of the money collected as a bribe in the above-mentioned case. The Commission further dedicated the JPCC to conduct a thorough investigation into the conduct of registrar records, Salmano Zubaru, and Finance Registrar Ahmed Kabir regarding their roles in the handling of the bail documents in the same matter. The federal government has implemented a major revision to the 2026 fiscal policy measures targeting a reduction in import duties and levies for both new and used vehicles. This policy, which took effect on July 1, 2026, is designed to lower transportation costs and provide tax incentives for electric vehicles and mass transit buses. Simultaneously, the government has introduced a green tax on vehicles with high engine capacities to promote environmental sustainability. Olaide Oloyesoluade reports on the public reaction to these fiscal changes.
As part of broader effort to ease inflationary pressure and stimulate economic activity, the federal government has broadened the scope of tariff adjustment across 127 tariff lines. Under these revised fiscal measures, the import levy on brand new vehicles has been reduced from 20% to 10%. Similarly, the levy on used vehicles has been adjusted from 15% down to 5%. Furthermore, the customs duty for fully built passenger vehicles has been lowered from 70% to 40%. Officials state that these measures are intended to directly impact market prices and increase vehicle affordability for the general public.
Immediately, the reduction has reduced the end selling point, the price the consumers are going to pay. They've been relieved. It's a welcome development, it's well appreciated, only that I felt that they should have done it long time ago.
The announcement has prompted varying responses from key sectors of the economy. Consumers have expressed optimism that these reductions will lead to a visible decrease in retail vehicle prices in the coming months. Meanwhile, automobile dealers anticipate that the policy will likely revive trading activities within the sector.
On the step to be taken so that the life will be more meaningful to our people or to the common people at the ground level is if it's possible to remove totally the tax on staple food like chicken, rice, any imported food item, let the government remove tax on it.
Are expecting significant further drops, so they are not hiking their prices as it were. I mean, the prices of cars, I was online yesterday checking the prices of cars. It will amaze you, you know, it was comforting what I saw.
As the government pushes for environmental sustainability, the new policy includes a shift in taxation for specific categories of vehicles. Imported petrol vehicles with engine capacities exceeding 2,000 cc will now attract a green tax, surcharge ranging from 2 to 4%. According to fiscal policy document, this measures is designed to discourage carbon emissions and encourage the adoption of energy-efficient transportation.
Sáriwo pé wọ́n ti yọ nínú owó lọ́pọ̀ àwọn èèyàn fi ná mọ́tò míì tá bá ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ èmi máa lóṣù márùn-ún náà kó tó dé Nàìjíríà, èmi máa lóṣù mẹ́ta, ó dìgbà tán bá gbé lọ́hùn ká tó rí bí tán bá ṣe dé la ìṣọpọ́n sì ló yọ owó kò nù kan bẹ́ẹ̀ tá ti fowó rà lẹ́sì bí ṣe mọ̀ pé kò sẹ́ tó máa fẹ́ nù fẹ́ ṣòwò pé kò ń short.
As implementation begins, stakeholders note that the ultimate impact of these reforms will be measured by the speed and efficiency with which these duty reductions reflect in final market prices. Olaide Oloye Sholuade, OGTV News.
Business News is next with Olayemi Takura. Stay with us.
Many thanks, Olayemi. Welcome to Business News. The Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has said Togo and Niger Republic failed to pay $12.66 million electricity bill in the first quarter of 2026. Of the $17.48 million bill that was issued to them, the three international customers remitted $4.84 million, being 27.57% for the energy of the electricity generation companies Genco supplied them in the period under review. This was made known in the 2026 first quarter report the Commission issued. Now, according to the report, domestic bilateral customers made a cumulative payment of over 5 million naira against the invoice of over 6 million naira issued to them. The MO for services rendered in the first quarter of 2026, translating to 95.00% remittance performance. Meanwhile, the Rural Electrification Agency, in collaboration with federal and state governments, has commenced the construction of 42 renewable energy projects in Kebbi and Adamawa states as part of efforts to expand electricity access, support economic activities, and improve power supply in underserved communities. The projects comprise 39 mini-grid projects in Adamawa State and a 3.5 megawatt solar power project in Kebbi State under the federal government's rural electrification program. In Adamawa State, the federal government flagged up the construction of 39 mini-grid projects under the Distributed Access through Renewable Energy Scale-Up Program. The projects comprise 3 interconnected mini-grids and 36 isolated mini-grids. The interconnected mini-grids are located in Kofare, Samnika and Mabia with installed capacities of 10 megawatts, 2.6 megawatts and 890 megawatts, respectively. The Nigeria Revenue Service generated 21.6 trillion naira in the first half of 2026. This represents a 49% increase year-on-year, driven by sweeping tax reforms, digitalization of tax administration, and changes to all revenue remittances and economic reports obtained by Newsman from the Presidential show. The figures were contained in the Economic Snapshot Reports 2023 obtained by Newsman. The reports reviewed Nigeria's economic performance since President Bola Tinubu assumed office in May 2023 and attributed the increase in revenue collections to policy reforms implemented over the past 3 years. According to the report, total tax collections rose from 12.3 trillion naira in 2023 to 21 trillion naira in 2024 and 28.3 trillion naira in 2025, while the 21.6 trillion naira generated in the first 6 months of 2026 represented a 49% increase over the corresponding period of 2025. It also stated that non-oil revenue accounted for 76% of total collections, while Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio improved from 10.3% to 13%. The report attributed the revenue growth to digitalization of tax administration, the implementation of 4 tax reform laws, the expansion of the Nigeria Revenue Service's mandate, and Executive Order 9, which challenged the remittance process for oil revenues. Independent petroleum marketers have pushed for the restoration of importation rights and projects that the pump price of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, could fall below 800 naira per litre as the federal government intensified efforts to force down the cost of petrol. The developments came as the federal government met with major operators in the downstream petroleum sector, including representatives of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, over what it described as the disconnect between falling global crude oil prices and the relatively high pump prices of petrol in the domestic markets. The stakeholders meeting on cost-reflective pricing of PMS held at the headquarters of the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in Abuja brought together the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Depot and Petroleum Products Retailers Association of Nigeria, the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners and Major Operators in the sector. The Federal Parastatals and Private Sector Pensioners Association of Nigeria has commended President Bola Tinubu for approving the liquidation of more than 39 billion naira in Inherited Defined Benefit Scheme, DBS pension liabilities. The union described the intervention as a major step towards restoring the dignity and financial security of thousands of retirees. The association said the largest component of the intervention is the payment of 35 months pension arrears owed to over 9,000 eligible pensioners in the defunct Lightel MTEL. In a statement jointly signed by the President General Elder Benjamin Amako and General Secretary Mr. Franklin Erinle, President described the approval as a landmark demonstration of the federal government's commitment to the welfare of pensioners under President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. That brings us to the end of business news. Many thanks for watching. We now head back to Okbayemi for the rest of the news. Stay with us.
That was business update. From there, we move to the foreign scene where Nigel Farage says he will resign as an MP for Clacton, triggering a by-election which he says he will stand in. Meanwhile, Ukraine president has used a speech at the NATO summit in Turkey to urge allies to deliver their air defense